And it would silence. Nobody will talk to us. We've tried. The Ocean Protection Council, Tom brought it up, and they just ignore you.
So the fishermen have seen a real reduction in.
Yeah, so when they first came out, there was fishermen out in that zone, and they had a documented decrease of 67%, two different guys. So it already does impact them. So so anyways, that's what.
I just wanted to know if you would give an update from the lawsuit, from the,
Yeah,
a bunch
so-
of people came to the.
Right.
Well,
Okay,
I have a
so
question about what you just said. Doesn't it make sense to have more people asking these questions? And why are they not upholding the thing where they're supposed to have somebody monitoring them? What?
yeah,
That's
that's
breaking the
that was
law.
my other question. Why isn't there any independent acoustic monitoring?
Shouldn't we all be contacting
You
them and
can.
harassing
Okay,
them?
so I'm going to
That's
tell you.
gonna come later.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you there's an opportunity. So did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah. Oh.
Shouldn't Fish and Game have a representative on every ship that goes out there? Wouldn't you think? That they know the coast? Because I know they board my boat when I'm out there fishing.
I
No problem
know.
boarding
Do
my
you
boat.
know that they passed a law that Coast Guard can't board them?
Orange ship? Why is
Yeah, they can't board them. They can't go out there and do safety checks and say, like our boats, we have to have safety checks and get we have to have certain things on our boat. Yeah, they don't have to do that. The Coast Guard doesn't even know they're out there. We went to go talk to them, and the guys there didn't even know they were there. So that's how, it's just all going under the.
Talking about Fish and
But what
Game.
about Fish and Game?
Fish and Game, Fish and Game is very distant too, and the director of Fish and Game is all on board with offshore wind.
Well, and also fishing game is only, only in nearshore waters, past 3 miles,
Right.
they have absolutely
Yeah,
no
they're a
jurisdiction.
state agency, so they're only involved with state waters, which is out to 3 miles.
Yeah.
Where they become important is if you're going to go into certain areas that are protected, you have to have a scientific collection permit, and Fish and Game issues those. So, like when they try to hook up to Diablo, they're going to have to go through a corner of Point Vashon NPA. So they're going to have to get a permit from the Department of Fish and Wildlife to do that. So that's where they're going to come in. We do need to get more involved with Fish and Game and telling them all of our concerns. I was really upset the other day, so maybe people heard me say this. The director of Bonheim, he was asked about the 93 eagles that have died from wind turbines in Northern California. And he said, oh, yeah, well, a lot of energy resources and things that we use for energy kill birds. That was his answer.
That's okay.
Oh, well then that's okay. Let's
Yeah.
do one more thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Like oil spills, and they referenced oil spills and stuff like, I was like, are you kidding me?
That's right up there with the Audubon
Sherry?
Society's
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah,
Sherry,
yeah.
if we go on,
your iPhone first.
oh my gosh. These things. Before you go on, who would be in charge of making sure the ship has a site plan and
Bureau of
How
Ocean
many-
Energy
so
Management
it's full?
is
Okay.
giving out these leases, and they even have on their website, if you go to BOEM and you put in Equinor, you'll see where their lease is and all the different things that they're supposed to do along the way. And one of them is a site assessment plan that was supposed to be done by June 1st. And I just looked today and it's not on there. And I don't know why it's not on there. And I've questioned him about it, but I just get ghosted. I'm just a pest by now, I guess.
It's okay.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
We're about to have a lot more pests.
Some of you already have heard of this. It was on Children's Health Defense on the 31st of May, so it was last Friday. And I encourage everybody to look it up. I sent it to Rachel, I think, and Karen Aguilar, and maybe a couple of other people. But it's about a woman who was fired because she was a teacher in, I think, Colorado, and she didn't want to get the jab. And they fired 350 employees.
Yeah.
And they started investigating it because they thought that was illegal, you know, for an unauthorized jab. And they started with asking for FOIA requests. Did you see it?
No, but I.
And they just went through the whole administration, the Biden administration. I think they're doing other states. They're doing sheriffs. They asked for oaths of office. And 90% of the people in the Biden administration, including the Attorney General and Pete Buttigieg, those names come to my mind, I think. Isn't the Attorney General Alex Becerra?
No.
It's Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland.
Yeah,
Merrick Garland.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
And it's all illegal. And what they've done is they might have something signed, but it hasn't been notarized and gone through all the steps that it was required to go through by a certain date, or else nothing they have ordered is legal.
Yeah.
And the only possibility that this woman said they think is that they don't want to be accountable for the things they're doing.
Yeah. Well, they're getting a lot of pressure from above them, you know, from the governor, from the president, saying, you know, your job is on the line if you don't go along to get along.
I think
the Coastal Commission should have never approved these site surveys.
I think they checked a lot of governors too, but I think this would be a good organization for us to collaborate with, because we're doing different things, but it all comes down to legalities being.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, and we are going to appeal our case. We're working on it. That's all I can say. Phil Walters just gave me a big article, and so we're working on it, and we're going to take it. It'll go to a court in Ventura next, but we got to hold that decision. That they were not supposed to start the site assessments until best practices were in place, and it was written in law, and it's a constitutional protection that we have, and so.
Well, I was totally shocked that that's occurring.
Yeah, and we were too.
And we wouldn't know about it without this.
But I think that Equinor is a bully, and they just thought we're going to just come in and do this and just try to stop us, and that's exactly what. And they bent to it. Because I don't think that even the government expected them to come in so quickly. Yeah.
What is the California Coastal Commission's response to the ship being out here and not?
They allowed it. They allowed it. They could have stopped it. But it went through a review, which nobody was.
They have a conditional permit.
Yeah. So what BOEM did was they send this what their plans are, an environmental assessment of the site assessment, and they asked California, because part of it goes through California, can we do this? And then California has to write up a consistency determination, which says, okay, this is within the laws of California, so you can do it. They did that, but they said it was based on 7 conditions. And I think it was 7. So the last condition was that a working group was formed between the fishermen, the wind developers, different state agencies, Fish and Game, different people, and that best practices would be decided before they started. And that was we call it the 7C working group, because it was a seventh condition. And that working group has gotten started, and they're gonna, so this is what's going on. So
You guys, the CCC
Yeah.
has, they have the right and the capacity, especially with this, they've been given the duty of being the lead agency. And they could be the lead agency even on permitting in federal waters on this project. So they gave Equinor and BOM, they gave them a conditional permit. So
Yeah.
that is one of the conditions, but there are numerous others that are not being met as well.
Yeah.
They made that decision based on an environmental impact report by BOEM that was completely bogus.
Yeah.
And it was subpar to say the least and insufficient.
Right.
So that's what they based it on, and then that way they can
Yeah.
make excuses for their decision.
yeah,
So it's,
Oh, wow.
it's, but yeah, the CCC actually had the capacity to be able to make the decisions for the permitting for federal waters, but now they're the lead for nearshore waters and onshore facility permits, et cetera, as well.
I think I'll add though, when they did do that federal consistency, when the California Coastal Commission did that, it was a couple of years ago, and I've listened to both those hearings, and unfortunately, groups like our group
Yeah.
we weren't even a twinkle in anybody's eye at that, well, maybe a twinkle, but that's about it. And so there was very little public opposition because they did a federal consistency up in Humboldt,
Yeah.
they came down and did one in Morro Bay, and there was very little
yeah, they just did it, they told the fishermen about it,
Yeah,
we
there
knew
was
about it, and we did put it on.
very little opposition,
Yeah,
so our big opportunity now is when Equinor now is coming in to get their coastal development permit. It's not on the June agenda, it'll probably be on the July coastal agenda. That's the time now that we need to, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, we really need to get the public enraged and involved, because now the Coastal Commission, before they're like, 7 people talked about it and nobody really gave a shit. But now it's like, there's a lot of public outcry
Really?
side that we need to
Yeah,
jump in on.
yeah.
So it's coming up.
So what I just found out today so my husband called up Kate Huckabridge, who's the director of staff of Coastal Commission. And we got a response from her person that's in charge of offshore wind. Her name's Holly Weir. And she said, because my husband complained that they were coming to Morro Bay and offshore wind wasn't on the agenda. When is it going to be on the agenda? When they're in Eureka? And so so her response was, we are going to discuss it in the executive report, executive director report. Now, if you go on their website and look at the executive, there's no
Not
such,
there.
it's not there. You can't read.
The report's not there
A
yet.
preview.
It will be
It
about
will
a
be
day before the
probably
Yeah,
meeting.
maybe a day before. But there's a button to click for comment on the executive report, even though you can't see the executive report. But we know from Holly, it's going to be about what's going on with the working group, the 7C working group, and about the offshore wind. And so that is an opportunity. But you have to have, if you want the commissioners to read your comments, you have to have them in by this Friday.
3 days
And will the
before.
report be visible?
Comment on the.
Actually, I think it probably will be. The report will probably be